Welcome back, viewers, to LBS Responds To episode number 104. So yes, welcome back everyone to another episode of my weekly Q&A series here on my channel, where pretty much I take any of your guys' LEGO questions, Star Wars questions, and pretty much anything in between and answer them in a video like this. If you guys want your question answered for next week, I'll be sure to leave a question down below, and preferably if you guys can leave the hashtag AskLBS at the start of your comment, so it's easier to actually kind of pick them out. That would be greatly appreciated. So let's get into it, guys. We have some very good questions this week. Actually, this is a very nice little selection of questions. So starting off with question number one, we have Collector Empire _KM, ask LBS, what are some LEGO sets that would have been way better with just a couple LifeBricks added? So first off, I can't really speak for every single LEGO set ever. I think, most LEGO sets would definitely benefit from having a light brick or a sound brick. I really don't see any, way that a set can actually kind of be, worse off with one of those. But one that really comes to mind, right when you asked this question and I read it, would be the ATST Raider from Star Wars, of course. And you guys probably know where I'm coming at with this. So in the actual show itself, when it first showed up at night, we had the ATST Raider, and pretty much going through the eye holes, or where you can actually look out of the ATST, was glowing red. And there's actually a person on YouTube, I'll put a picture up, shout out to them. I remember watching this video like 2 years ago at this point, where all it took was just one little red light brick to put in there. You'll be able to press it, and made it look very, very awesome. So in my opinion, look, I gotta say, that's one of those things where, for a nice little $50 set, they could have definitely gave us a light brick, and that would have made that a whole lot better, I think. So yeah, great question, and like I said, I think most sets would definitely benefit from it. So next up, we have Husam right here. Ask LBS, for the May 4th releases, do you recommend ordering the sets online or buying them from the LEGO store to get the most out of the freebies? Love the channel, good content, happy 10th. Thank you so much, man. So to answer that question, and if anything, definitely stay tuned to the channel, since as we get closer to May 4th, of course, I will announce, what the promos are, how to get them. But pretty much right now, just so you can kind of prepare, kind of the rule of thumb, I guess, is usually when buying from LEGO themselves, buying online and buying in store really has no difference. There's very few promos, maybe once or twice a year, where it's, something where only in store gets it or only online gets, and that goes for every theme. There are a couple exceptions, of course. Sometimes there's, certain promos you have to buy a certain theme for it, but for Star Wars, especially on like May 4th, I believe there's only been one or two scenarios over the years where sometimes the cheap little $35 polybag throw-in promo is only in store and not online. So preemptively, I'm going to say, going in store is probably your best bet, especially if you care about like, box damage on a big UCS set and stuff like that. But definitely stay tuned to the channel as we get closer. I will definitely let you guys know everything going on with May 4th. So moving on to EX Croft right here. Actually, speaking of polybags, ask LBS, what's your opinion on the polybag sets? So in my opinion, I love polybags, and actually it's one thing now that you say that, I have been wanting to do a polybag collection update video. I've not done one since I think like 2019 summer, and I believe I had like 600 at that point, and I just keep on getting them and getting them, whether they're the promo polybags, just any type of theme polybags. I've got a bunch of them. So I think in general, for pretty much any theme, polybags are pretty much perfect. One thing I will say though is very ironic is how Star Wars does not have any minifigure polybags ever. Like, we have, that new Marvel Doctor Strange polybag, a licensed theme, Marvel, it's kind of the same level as Star Wars. For $4.99, you get a Doctor Strange and like 40 other pieces. Like, why don't we get something like that for Star Wars? Like, we have not gotten something like that since, like, I want to say 2009. There was a Clone Walker polybag and a Droid Stat polybag, but only in, international countries. So that's definitely one thing where I think Star Wars, whether it's for legal purposes or LEGO just being stingy, the Star Wars polybags could definitely be a little bit better, I feel. But in general, for $4.99, I love the concepts of polybags, that's for sure. So next up, we have F1_needy chicken. Ask LBS, if or when you have kids, would you let them play with or use your Lego? So, of course, that is a big if or when, that's 5, 10, 15 years down the line. And, but definitely for sure. I mean, like I said, I think with everyone, you're going to have your, personal collection where it's like, look, I'm just going to be honest with me, little Tyler is not going to be able to play with my UCS Imperial Shuttle, when he's 5 years old. Like, that's going to be a set. Look, maybe you can start messing with it when you're 10, 12, 13, where you can kind of start learning to appreciate the shuttle. But, if they want to play with, like I said, they'll have their own collection, first off. Like, it's definitely not going to be, like, off limits, but for the most part, they're going to start kind of building up their own collection, if they're even into it. Again, if they don't like it, I'm not going to force them to get into LEGO. But, yeah, for sure, I have no problem with that. But, there's probably going to be maybe 10% of the collection off limits. But yeah, I mean, I feel no need to hide it from my kids or anything like that. I think it would be actually very fun, and it would be kind of a dream to be able to do this type of stuff with my kid eventually. So thanks for the question. So speaking of the UCS Imperial Shuttle, that's actually another good segue question. That's 2 in a row right there. We have Squatch Enterprises right here. Ask LBS, why is the UCS Imperial Shuttle your favorite UCS set? I ask because you seem to be biased towards the prequel sets. Not a bad thing, but have an OG trilogy as your favorite. Just curious. Keep doing work, man. Thank you so much. And yeah, so this is kind of a once you asked this, it's kind of a longer answer and really not something I feel like I could even really fully explain. Rather than the fact of I've liked it for coming up on 7 years now. Like, it's just been a top wanted set for about 7 years now, and I feel like retrospectively, before say I bought it, it just always appealed to me. It was kind of like an underrated UCS set. Not a lot of people like it, I feel. You don't really see too many people talking about it. It's not overhyped like the UCS AT-AT or the Razor Crest. And in my opinion too, before I built it, it's a little bit, not so much now that I have it built. I always just imagined it like, this is what a UCS set should be. Like, just like a big version of the vehicle. Like, it's extra big, like, I don't care if it's not minifigure scale, but although I've heard actually that this actually technically might be minifigure scale, there's no way it is, but nonetheless, I feel like between that, just the largeness of a ship being a little bit underrated for a couple years there, and then also it just being, again, I mean, as much as I don't really care, since that's what Star Wars is, a lot of gray ships all the time, I gotta admit, it is nice having an all-white vehicle in the collection. And so yeah, I mean, it's strange, man. Again, like, I don't necessarily hate the original trilogy sets. I would definitely say I lean more towards the Empire sets to begin with. Like, I love the 2019 Star Destroyer UCS set. I love this. But that's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I never really sat down and really gave a definitive answer on that. But yeah, nonetheless, I mean, I love it, and I definitely don't regret getting it. But speaking of prequels, my next UCS that I want to get, it's actually a prequel set, that being the UCS Kenobi Starfighter. And yeah, hopefully pretty soon. That'll be a fun little build stream to do. And thank you for the question. So next up, we have Asher McKay right here. Ask LBS, and pretty much long story short, they're asking, would I ever join the LEGO Ambassador Network? So preemptively, I'm going to say no, and that's just the truth of it. Unless they, the biggest thing is unless they eventually change how they run that thing. But just based off of everything I've ever heard, between what people have said publicly, on YouTube and on the internet, and what I've heard privately, is it's just not something I feel like I would be able to enjoy, to its full, potential. Because, a couple things that sure you're kind of limited. I feel like, again, even myself, it'd be kind of, hypocritical. I don't trust anyone in LAN, giving a review of a Lego set. I just don't. I don't watch too many reviews as is, but believe me, like, the last person I want to go to is a LAN member for a review of a set. So it'd be kind of hypocritical if I joined LAN then, and as much as I can say, look, I am being 100% transparent, there's probably going to be plenty of people that then have the same mindset as me and just wouldn't trust me to begin with, And honestly, you kind of brought up the fact of, getting sets early, but that's not really the case anymore. You got to be honest with yourself. So, I mean, a lot of these LAN members, again, they have embargo dates. They don't get, they get stuff early. Say, like, I don't doubt for a second LAN members had, the 501st Battle Pack and TIE Bomber in hand from, late November, even before me even. But their embargo date was December 17th, and that sucks for them. Again, like, no hate to the LAN members, but, LEGO prevented them from doing anything with those sets for every bit of a week, if not 2 weeks. Well, non-LAN members like myself, like Ryan, like other people were actually able to post those reviews, post pictures, and reveal them, 5 or 6 days early. And same with thing this year, I got the, Ryan got the clone helmets, the Cody and Rex helmets before LAN. I got mine like 2 days after LAN. Like, getting stuff early from LAN is really not too prevalent anymore because there's so many other ways to get stuff early and you don't have embargo dates. So just the truth of the matter at this point, no, I have no intentions on joining LAN for a magnitude of reasons. But if they start changing stuff, they make it a lot different, get their act together, who knows, maybe 5-10 years down the line. But for now, that's a big no from me. So next up, we have Zach Jackson. Ask LBS, why doesn't LEGO do Star Wars idea set? Seems like a great way to get some community involvement. So bottom line of it, and I'll keep this answer short, is just the fact of the matter, LEGO does not actually allow any of their own licensed, LEGO themes already on LEGO ideas, just for the fact of, I don't know, there's probably a true reason from it. It's probably listed somewhere on the website, but from what I've always, gotten from it, LEGO just has all the ego in the world thinking that they themselves can think of the idea before you can, kind of thing. That's what I get from it, at least. For they own the Star Wars license. They can make virtually anything they want. Sure, they got to get it approved through Lucasfilm, but that design team, I feel like it's always been kind of a and this is for any theme, again, it's just kind of the thing where why waste their resources and waste that website on people like, say the community, where maybe there's a little bit more, involvement in the fact of knowing what we want a little bit more, giving us, better sets hypothetically. And Lego just thinks they would be able to do it first before us, kind of thing. So yeah, bottom line of it, Lego Ideas just does not accept Star Wars sets. They stopped that back in, I think, like 2014 or 2015. So definitely sad, but it's just the sad truth of it. So moving on to this next question, this is actually a pretty big one. A lot of you guys actually asked me about this, pretty much involving, what do I know officially about the kind of two unknown sets coming out in the summer? That being 75354 and 75357 that actually just got kind of leaked and rumored yesterday by Bricklink. And, one is 1,083 pieces, one is 1,394 pieces. People are asking, is it a gunship? Is it a sail barge? Is it a ghost? And pretty much this is what I know at this point. So 75354, what I can tell you is one of the big leaker guys. When I kind of asked him, I'm like, hey, just give me like a little hint, give me like a 2-word hint, a little like phrase. He just said, expect the unexpected. So that's the bottom line of it. I've not heard anything personally, for that regarding, the closest thing I've heard to like, someone telling me possibly what it is, but again, take this with a big grain of salt, is something from like Skeleton Crew, the new show. Or, of course, it could be something like, the big ship from Andor. But again, that's all just speculation. That at that point, might as well just say it's anything. So then moving on to 75357 that just got revealed yesterday, that's going to be an additional set coming out September 1st, nearly 1,400 pieces. A lot of people were trying to run with it yesterday, that's going to be the Jabba's Throne Room new set number, for 1,400 pieces. And at that point, like 150, 160 bucks for a throne room, because, a big molded Jabba. That's just not the case. It's just not the throne room. I can confirm with it. I will say this right here. Again, this is a big, I may or may not have seen the, rumored, initially May 1st, 2023, Jabba's throne room. I may or may not have seen a picture of it, but let's just say I did for this story. What was in that picture, if I did see a picture involving it, unless they made that entire build out of, 1x1 plates, that's not 1,400 pieces. Just wasn't like that. What I might have saw, if I did see something, it definitely, lined up more with like a $70 set. Looked to be maybe 500 pieces, maybe 600 pieces. Then you throw in your 5 minifigures of molded Jabba, and for something in the range of, $70 to $100, that definitely makes sense. But unless, from basically like a month or two ago, unless they genuinely stopped, full production of that, did a whole 180, doubled the size of the set, presumably going to include more minifigures at that point. If they're going to double the price, at least include another minifigure or two, and then somehow turn it all around, produce that set. So unless they do all of that and turn it around and make an entirely new version of Jabba's throne room and have it in production and have it done by September 1st, which is highly unlikely, what the original May 1st $70 throne room was is just not going to be 1,400 pieces in September. So that's that. Other than that, me and other people, we don't know what it's going to be yet. There's absolutely just kind of nothing for that. Like at least for 75354, what I can tell you, and I'll relay this, expect the unexpected, but to that point, sadly, I can't tell you anything for either of those two, and that's just fully transparent. I don't know anything for either of the two. Any of the September stuff, I will tell you right now, now that I'm looking at my full list right here, I know nothing other than, of course, the buildable Chewbacca for September, but there is quite a few of the August 1st stuff. I do know, again, I may or may not have seen a couple pictures, I maybe know this or that, but sadly for September 1st, I've got nothing for you guys. Definitely stay tuned to the channel, because I always try to give you guys information first. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we have Lego Clone Trooper 4. Ask LBS, how disappointed will you be if Lego celebrates the 10-year anniversary of The Force Awakens, but not the 20th anniversary for Revenge of the Sith?
Oh, no, no. No.
All right, next up, we have Keith Crane right here. Ask LBS, what are your thoughts on the Bricklink Designer program? As someone who resells Lego, have you been investing in the first 3 rounds, and why or why not? So right off the bat, Keith, I'll definitely tell you, I wish I was investing in them, but it's just the truth of it. It's pretty confusing, man. I mean, I don't pay attention to it all that much, but all the times I have kind of looked at it, I've either been too late to it or kind of just like second guessed myself, and then like an hour later, it's sold out already. But there's definitely a few things on there I wish I bought. for myself, let alone just for value purposes. But definitely one that I'm very mad I missed out on, or that my dad didn't buy for his own personal collection, was that new Studgate train station. Shout out to Cristo over at Stud City. He actually got that. He's actually live building it this weekend, I believe, and that thing looks incredible, man. But I definitely recommend it. I mean, there's a lot of nice, just unique sets over there, a lot of beautiful builds, and I think it's just the truth of it too. I mean, again, kind of going into the fact if you want to kind of resell them, make some money off of them, those do go for a pretty penny on the aftermarket, that's for sure. But me personally, I've not bought any of them, but pretty soon here, hopefully I can get my act together, not second guess it, figure out exactly when to buy it. And if another cool one comes out eventually, I'm definitely going to grab it for either, again, investing or just for myself. But thanks for the question, man. All right, guys, and that is everything for this week. A couple very good questions in there. And as always, leave your questions down below for next week if your question was not answered today. Really quickly, I want to say, guys, I will not be streaming tonight on YouTube. I'll be streaming tomorrow night. Pretty much what I'll be doing tomorrow night, though, is I'll be building up this set because I really want to build it after watching Mandalorian Season 3, and then we'll be talking about some Mandalorian Season 3 leaks and everything, and pretty much having a good time over there on a Friday night. And that's all for today, guys. That's basically it. Nothing else to really talk about. Usually I've got some other show notes, but that's everything. I'll leave you guys all at that. Please want to comment and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next video and the live stream tomorrow. Bye, guys, and stay safe.